My name is Johanna Asaf, also known as AVIRA. I'm from Toronto, Canada. And yeah, I make some sort of hybrid of melodic house and techno and everything else dance music. Strange World is just one of those really classic melodies that everybody enjoys. And again, with the AVIRA twist, it's kind of like, it's a way for new people to discover those kinds of melodies and those kinds of ideas, but in a way that's maybe more appealing to, you know, a new generation of people who've never heard those kinds of sounds before. That's a really tough question. I feel like a lot of it was just my obsession with how things sound. So over the years, like I used to have a really old school box, I don't know, from 1980 something. It was just a radio with 2 plugs, and I would plug in the radio and just record and listen and just analyze over and over and over. How is this happening? Why is this happening? And that obsession just kind of became my own way of figuring out what, I don't know, it's just something to do with sound. Over the years, there was Tiesto was a big influence. Armin van Buuren obviously was a big influence. But I feel like I always tried to stick in my own head and figure out what random new thing I could come up with. Initially, it was supposed to be a really kind of techno track, very techno drums, very techno kick. And eventually, it just started morphing into this weird non-genre, something that I didn't know what it was. But one of my good friends, his name is Armando Scarlato. He's an insane singer. And he came to my studio, heard DNA, and he's like, wait a minute, turn on the microphone. And he turns on the microphone and in one take does this crazy line that you hear in the song now. And I'm like, okay, stop everything. I gotta do this right now. And I sat and we had this like really cool effect on his voice. And somehow that inspired the whole song to change into whatever the hell it is with the wah wah wah. I don't know what it is to this day, but I know I like it. So I started producing probably around the age of 13, 14. At first it was just analyzing sound waves. I actually still have the same program that I had when I was a kid that I used to analyze waveforms. And eventually there was a teacher in school who asked us to do this project, which was basically making like an original soundtrack to a little movie we were making in the class. And the idea in my head stuck of like, okay, interesting. This connects to what I'm doing at home. So somehow let's try to make a soundtrack for this little movie. And I think that ignited a whole new appreciation for what this actually is, because I got to see a file I can play, which has a video and audio that I made. And it's like, okay, this is cool. Let's do more of this. So yeah, ever since then, that just built my obsession with being in the studio. No, because I have a rule in my studio, which just came about, I think, accidentally, that I'm never using the same sounds twice. So in every track, I will make a new kick, I will make new drums, I will make new synths, I will make new everything, just by how the way I just started to work. And so whenever I find new things, which is all the time, I go, okay, enough of this, let's use this now. And yeah, it's always evolving. And I think that also helps my brain stay fresh. so I'm not making the same songs over and over. It really depends on my, I guess it really depends on my mood. If there's a lot of new vocals that I'm finding, or a lot of new sounds that I'm making, somehow it just turns into maybe 2-3 tracks in a week. Because I really try to finish songs in one session. So at least the whole arrangement, all the ideas, everything is done in one session. Because if I don't do that, then I think about it. And if I have to start thinking about the tracks, they're usually not very good. The interesting thing about that track is that the lead melody is not a lead melody at all. It's just like a bass line. And Diana's voice was so captivating that I think it just made my job really easy to say, oh, here are all the elements that this voice needs, just so that it's perfectly clear and there's not too much information. Let's focus on the song, and everything else is accompanying. I've thought about this before quite a lot. I would consider it like it's dark with hope. Somehow hope is kind of always the message at the end. When you're done listening, you think, okay, it's almost like things can be better. Even though the songs can start very intense and the themes are really, it's either about love or loss or like something very, very, like a very intense human emotion. And at the end you think, no, it's gonna be okay. That's I think, I don't know why, but that's always been the underlying theme, I think, in a lot of my music. I'm walking with a ghost. It's a way to represent feelings of mystery. So music to me has always been about almost like a higher consciousness, and when you listen to music, everybody has their own world in their mind when they're listening, and whatever that world is, it's definitely not this world. So that kind of like Greek imagery or just ancient kind of imagery, for me at least, gives me that feeling of we're not here, we're somewhere else. Probably when I was a teenager, just going to festivals and sensing that everyone is under this kind of like hypnosis together, and they're all really captivated by the visuals, by the sound, that kind of togetherness sensation. I think that's really what triggers all these ideas in my head. Tom Staar is just like me in the sense that he knows what he wants to do and he does it right away. So there was not too much thinking about, oh, what are we gonna do and how are we gonna do it? It's just, here are some of my ideas. Okay, now I'm building on your ideas with this, and just very quickly back and forth. We know exactly what's going on and what we want. And Diana was kind of the same way, because I think it took her maybe one day to come up with the vocal, and yeah, everything just kind of fell in place, which is a really good feeling for music. You don't want to take too long or think too much. The melody is still the main source of it's the main source of the theme in the tracks, but it's also got a lot of drums and rhythm, and so it can help you think in a way where like melodies usually make you think, but it also has the ability to make you move. And I think the combination of those two is really nice. Less is more. Definitely less is more. I really like that I can say that it's completely new every time. I really like that about some of the work that I'm doing. I don't have to feel like I'm cheapening my work by using stuff that I've already used before, or you know, just recycling basically. Everything is new all the time. Not being too self-critical about how things sound. It's okay if they sound a little bit rough or, you know, not polished. Yeah. Armin actually really surprised me with one of the melodies he did in Mask. It seemed so simple, but it absolutely transformed the entire thing and brought it together in a way that I thought, wow, that makes so much sense, and it's just this simple. I think there's some bit of genius in that. I really love Illusion. It's definitely got an incredible vibe. I think we hit the mark on making something that nobody's really heard before. I don't know what genre that song is. It's all of them combined. Mask is just, I get goosebumps every time I listen to it. And I think the song means more than I realize. And I think one day it will click what it actually means. But for now, I think it's like, yeah, it's a lot to process in a good way. I definitely can't wait to hear, that with a crowd of people. But I think Hollow has the most universal appeal, if that makes any sense. It's all the elements of Mask and Illusion and all the genres that we love, and somehow it's like a perfect bridge between whatever you like. Trance, techno, dance pop, whatever it is, anything and everything. I think that song is the bridge between it all.